Welcome to the Sandwich Crunch, where we navigate the trends and issues for seniors and boomers in the home, the workplace, and the community. I'm Bonnie Kuhn, and welcome to have you all. And also want to thank our staff. They are all volunteers here in our county, and I want to share that with the audience so that if you happen to ever meet someone who works for Calaveras Public Access TV, to thank them and share your thanks with all this programming that they provide. Today, I'd like to introduce Maureen Donnicenzo. Did I get that right?
You did.
Oh my gosh. With Above and Beyond Travel, and what we're going to be talking about today is senior lifestyle. And this is a very, very key part of senior lifestyle, as a lot of people age and they choose to live out their dreams and pursue those things that they want to do. And travel seems to be among the top 10. So I thought we'd kick it off with your story, how you got into the travel business.
Yes, I can actually blame this on my dad. It's kind of a difficult story at first. My dad's dream was when he retired, he was going to travel. But at the age of 59, he became paralyzed due to a tumor on his spine. And this was back in the 80s when they didn't have the medicines or the different medical technology that they have now. And at the time, they used a laser to kill the tumor, but unfortunately, it over-radiated him and paralyzed him completely.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So his dream of traveling at that time just diminished. And at that time, there was no accessible travel. It wasn't available. And so he drilled into my head at that time, because I had the pleasure of caring for him many days to give my mom some relief, to retire young and travel for him. So I did travel before I retired, and I did retire young, and when I did, I opened up my own travel business here in Arnold in the Calaveras County. So I've been in the travel business for about 9 years. I love it. I have 9 agents working remotely from their home offices, and I've been awarded several awards in the past couple of years. In 2012, we were awarded Best Group Sales on the West Coast.
Congratulations.
For California, and so we're really proud of that.
It should be.
Yes, and we've been written up in several travel magazines, Travel Weekly magazine, and Travel Age West magazine. So.
Well, that is quite an accomplishment, particularly when you're talking about a small town in Arnold, and to be able to bring not only the pleasure of travel to people, but make such a significant difference in your industry. Congratulations.
And at this point in life, people think that travel agents are gone, that we are dinosaurs and not out there. But we are well and alive and working for clients.
You know, that's good to hear, because I know we had met in I think it was a business networking group at some time, and I remember they all asked us what one thing we wish we could be doing, and both of us had that same answer. I'd be cruising around the world, and we both had that same answer. I thought that was really fun, because we both have that love of cruising and the travel. But one of the things that you do is you bring that joy to others. And as you say, so many people don't realize that travel agents are truly here and available and beyond Expedia and beyond these other places. Because before I had met you, I was under the assumption I had to do all of my personal planning. And you're right, a lot of people don't know that travel agents exist, because a lot of it does occur online. So I'm glad you do that.
And you mentioned cruising. Mm-hmm. And cruising is a great travel tool for seniors, whether it be a 3-day cruise on the Pacific coast or on the East Coast, mm-hmm. or a 100-day cruise around the world. One of the nice things about cruising is you get on the vessel, you're on it, and you unpack once.
Yes.
And then you go from port to port to port.
And you have maid service every day.
Every day, and you don't have to cook. Your meals are prepared for you. Mm-hmm. There's activities. There's so many activities that you don't have time to do them all. There's reading in the library. There's cultural activities. There's bingo. There's the casino. There's stories about the port, what you can do at the ports, what you can go shopping and see and do and purchase. It's amazing what the cruising industry has for you. And working with a travel agent, many people don't realize that when they book it online or when they call the cruise line, that travel agents get promotional rates. We get amenity gifts for our clients, and we're there for them should they have any issues.
That could be significant because there are things that do happen on ships.
Exactly.
And good and bad, and obviously we've heard in the news the things in Greece and various other places over the years, various situations. But it's not just that; it's the service that you provide that can be very helpful. I wish I'd had that initially because I know for our family, I look at cruising not only just for seniors as being a really optimal place to travel because my mom was in a wheelchair. And it really made it easy for us to take her on cruises. They have a great way to get her up and down the ship. They've got this customized ramp. It was really cool. And they were very, very courteous and helpful in dealing with her. But we were able to make it a multi-generational family trip. And is that something you're seeing coming about far more often?
Yes, many times I see that. I've even done it with my family. I've taken my grandkids on an Alaska cruise, on a Disney cruise, and taking a granddaughter on a Disney cruise next year to Mexico.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
Can I go?
But another thing with, you're talking about seniors, and some of them may have some handicap issues. The cruise lines have handicap accessible rooms. So you can wheel into the room, it's wide enough for the doorway, and they also have the bathrooms accessible. So you don't have to worry about getting into a tiny little bathroom. They're large, or you can roll right into the shower. So cruising should not hold anyone back these days because of handicaps or any other issues, because they're there for them. The cruise lines are there for them.
I agree.
And many times, being on the West Coast, you don't have to fly. You can go to San Francisco.
Which is so nice.
So easy. Or there's different cruise lines that have them down in Long Beach or in that area, or San Diego. So you could either fly or drive down there and have access to cruising, like to Alaska, to Mexico, or even to the Hawaiian Islands. There's a 14-day cruise that takes you over there, a round trip, and you stop at all the islands, get a little taste of it, and either you can decide to go back or bring your kids back or just have a wonderful time in the islands.
That is an amazing way to describe all the travel. I want to get on a cruise ship so bad. I keep looking like, what's my next trip going to be?
I have many clients too that have started thinking about traveling the world, and there are world cruises out there, 100 days or longer. So many of the seniors have time on their hands, and they want something to do, and this is something very economical considering what they're getting, going to all these ports, all their meals, all their accommodations, all in a package for them.
And that is a significant issue, the cost of going on a cruise, because it does, I mean, a lot of people don't realize all the amenities that you do garner from going on a cruise. And those would include, like you said, all the different activities, but it's also your food and all these other amazing things. I mean, I love having them come in, like I said, it's not only having them clean your room every day, which is quite a luxury, but it's also just the camaraderie of the people that you also get to meet on the ship, because you meet people from all around the world that come on these ships, and that was a really amazing thing to see, especially in my parents, both of them to be able to get out and socialize, because we got them a suite where they had the concierge service,
Nice.
and they absolutely loved it. My dad was in heaven. They were absolutely they had really, really deluxe service, and that made a big difference. But going back to cruising, what are the most popular trips right now?
Well, I've seen a lot of people, even including seniors, heading over to Greece, to the Greek Isles. So there's ports like Venice and Rome that you depart from, and you make your circle around the Greek Isles, stopping in all the ones that you can stop at Athens and all those beautiful islands out there that you see in the pictures. Santorini, the place where you see the whitewashed buildings with the blue domes. Those are gorgeous, they're painted pictures that you can actually see, be there, and enjoy. And most of the cruise lines, in fact, all the ones that we promote, are English speaking. So that's a big plus. So if you're hesitant about going on a cruise and you're going to say the Greek Isles or Italy or France or whatever, you're going to be with people who speak English. So it's not going to be a difficult, trying episode for you. It's going to be very relaxing and enjoyable.
Now, there's different types of cruises. The river cruises, I understand, are a very, very popular mode of transportation for travel for especially seniors, because they're really not geared towards a family, but they're geared towards adults, is my understanding.
Yeah, the average age is 55 plus.
Right.
And
that would
so,
be likely for that kind of a ship, because there's not all the fun things to do like you'd find in Royal Caribbean or anything like that.
well, the river cruising, they're much smaller. I have a group going in April. We have about 50 people going in France and on the Rhone River.
Oh, nice.
And the maximum is 180 people. And so we've got already at least a quarter of that ship. So it's going to be small, intimate. I'm leaving this Sunday for a river cruise on the Snake Columbia River on a paddle boat.
That sounds intriguing.
It's from Clarksville to Portland. So that's something you can do in the United States. You don't have to go to Europe to do river cruising. You can do the ones locally just here up in the Northwest, or in Mississippi, or any of the tributaries of Mississippi. The Great Lakes are now promoting cruises too. So you can just go right in your own backyard here. I mean, you don't have to travel to another continent. You can stay here right in our continent and travel on river cruising.
Yeah, that is a really great statement, because so many people think you need to travel and leave the country on a cruise, but that's not true. You can stay within our country, and there's so much to see within our own United States that opens up a lot of possibilities and a lot of tours, and probably a little bit easier on some people if they do have certain health issues.
It's easier on their flight. They don't have to travel as far, and it's just another door to open to travel. People forget about the opportunities we have here in the United States.
Well, you also we've talked earlier about tours. What types of tours are people going on? Because I had read in a couple of senior online blogs in travel that a lot of seniors are choosing the experiential tour, like going out and cooking in Italy, or going out and hiking up, through the Amazon, or whatever it is. It's something really experiential and getting in with nature, or it's a wine tasting tour, or it's something different than the typical. Just I'm going to go tour and go visit to the major stops, say in Rome or in Venice, or over in Paris or something like that.
I do work with companies who offer the wine tours as well as cooking classes. For the adventure, there's going into South America, to Peru, to Machu Picchu. I just had the opportunity of going there this past March, and there were many seniors who were hiking. And I had the pleasure of walking up to Machu Picchu myself. So that is awesome. And you don't have to feel like you have a young body, even though you have an older age, and you can still do this. Another thing that people are still doing is the Great Wall of China. That was high on my bucket list, and I had the opportunity of doing that. And going to Xi'an and seeing the terracotta warriors. I mean, those are type of things that you think, oh, I'll never do. We have tours that make it easy walking. You don't rush. If you want to go up to the Great Wall of China and you only want to go 50 steps, at least you did it. If you want to go 2 miles, you can do it. So you have that opportunity to either do as much as you can or as less as you can. So it's right open. Another hot tour cruise, it's a combination, is the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, I've heard quite a bit about that.
So that's a combo where they cruise out to the islands, and then you're actually on the island right there with the wonderful little animals. And
that's exciting.
It's very exciting, and how many people get to do that?
Now, I understand also Antarctica is also a very unique tour that people like to do, especially to go see the penguins and various other animals of that region. And what other areas are people choosing?
New Zealand. New Zealand is a wonderful place. There's the Northern Island and Southern Island, and they're both so different. One island is made by glaciers, which is the southern island, and the northern island is made by volcanoes. So there's different land experience of what they look like. The southern part is a lot of Alps. We would call them ski resorts, mountains up here, but in New Zealand they call them the Alps, just like they do in Europe. So that is a wonderful place. And you have to remember, too, that they are just the opposite that we are. Their winter is our summer, and our summer, their winter.
So it's a perfect time to be able to go travel.
Yes.
During the winter, if you want to be the snowbird and you want to get away and get somewhere
So if
nice
it's snowing
and warm.
here, it'll be warm there. So, and South Pacific, that's another place people love to go. It's always going to be warm there. So if you're here up in the mountains and want to get away from the snow, typically you can go to the South Pacific and have great weather most of the time.
Now, traveling can be expensive. And how do actually cruise lines or travel companies have programs in place for someone to be able to say, you know, I want to go in 18 months, but I can't pay for it all right now? Do they actually have programs where they have payment plans and things like that?
Exactly. If you find the cruise that you want to go, all they ask is a deposit. And then payment is usually due 60 to 90 days prior to departure. So if you're planning for a year and a half from now, you've got plenty of time to save. So it's a good way to use as a payment plan and not worry about paying for it all at once.
Now, there is one thing, caveat, especially with a cruise or actually on any kind of a tour, is making sure you have that extra spending money. And on a cruise line, they don't pay for alcohol. So those are two things that, you know, people need to pay attention to. There are certain extra costs that do go with certain types of travel. So what should someone, if they're picking out a tour, and by the way, Maureen is a wealth of experience and knowledge in travel. It's just amazing to hear the places that you have been and where you're going. It's just, I'm absolutely astounded how many places you've seen around the world. Because every time I call, oh, I just got back from China, or I'm going to Hong Kong, or wherever it is, you have been everywhere. It's just amazing, and you truly are living out the dreams for your father. So.
Well, just a little bit of backup on those. People think I'm going on vacation. Those are actually training trips. So they are provided for travel agents, and they are not free. We pay for our training. So we can go experience it and tell our clients firsthand what's there, how to experience it, and what they can do there. So it's not just looking at a book. We don't just look at books. We have been there. We experience it. This past year, I've had the pleasure of going to Mexico. I've been to Ireland, Peru, China. Next week, I'm going, like I said, up to the Columbia River. And then I have training in November in Hawaii.
Which, by the way, you are a Hawaii specialist.
I'm a Hawaii Master Specialist.
So what does that mean?
I've been invited by the Hawaii Visitors Bureau to come over for training. I go every year, and we experience a different island every year. So to find out what's new, what's going on, what kind of activities. Many people don't realize that each island is different. I've had clients who say, well, I want to stay in Maui and go to see the volcano. Well, there's one dormant volcano on Maui, it's Haleakala, but what they're thinking is the volcano that's active on the Big Island. So each island is different, and if they want to do that, we can provide that service of getting them on 2 different islands. So each island is unique. The Big Island has 13 of the 15 ecosystems of the world on one island.
I didn't realize that. I knew there was the green side and the volcanic side. That's my favorite island, actually, aside from Kauai. But
I've flown in there in November where it was snowing on the mountains. Land in the airport and it's raining, and I drive up to Waiakoloa and it's all desert. So you can experience all different things. You go into the interior, it's all farmland. They used to have the biggest cattle ranch in all of the United States was on the Big Island. People think it's Texas.
Interesting. That's a good bit of story and history of Hawaii.
Yes. So each island is unique. Oahu is the island where Honolulu is, and that's the capital. So it's kind of a hustle-bustle town of Honolulu. It's like San Francisco. It's very busy. But that's where Pearl Harbor is. A lot of war history is there. And a lot of movies have been filmed there on the island of Oahu.
So what movies have been filmed there?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Gosh, that's interesting.
I can't, they all don't pop in my head right now, but there's
Well, that's
been
a big one.
many
Memorable movie.
on Kauai is another island where they film a lot of islands. The latest one was when, it'll come back to me.
Well, when you're advising your clients and someone comes to you and says, you know, Maureen, I'm not quite sure where we want to go, and these are some of our health issues that we need to be aware of, and we want to go for 5 to 7 days, and we only have so much time to do the travel, such as, you know, traveling to the airport, taking the airplane to, you know, to the destination, and then they have that period of time to travel. How do you work with a client in helping them design a trip and also set up some safety precautions? Because I know we talked about some issues that need to be aware of for individuals that are traveling, especially if you do have a chronic disease or you have some kind of medical issue that needs to be addressed.
Well, I always ask them what type of weather do they enjoy first, whether it's warm, cool, or cold, and what type of food they like, because that can determine where they could go. So I kind of ask them the questions so I can kind of help them or direct them to a location. And you know, if they don't want to travel by a plane, there's always the alternative, the train. And I work with Amtrak, and there's sleeper cars that can get you from here to Chicago, and then I have people who are going to New Orleans. So you can actually take a couple days and get down to, by train, to New Orleans.
Now that's a great way to do it, especially if you don't like flying, because there are a lot of people who do not like flying, and that is one way.
I'm working with clients right now who are going up to Vancouver by train.
That'd be a great trip.
And they're spending a few days up in Vancouver. They're coming back through Seattle, and then from Seattle they're taking the ferry over to Victoria.
Oh, that's going to be a great trip. I love the fish market in Seattle, and
Yes,
Victoria's
Pike's
absolutely
Market.
incredible with the floral gardens, and oh my gosh, that's going to be a great place. And Vancouver's a lot like, well, I'd say it's a lot like San Francisco, but I
It
think
is.
Montreal's far more like San Francisco out of the two cities. But they all kind of have that feeling up there, and it's a absolutely pristine country.
Beautiful.
As soon as you pass the border, night and day, it is just absolutely so well maintained, and the Canadians are so generous and so kind.
So there's different way of options of traveling. Not necessarily have to travel by air or car, but the train is very relaxing. And then there's the Via Rail up in Canada. It goes from east to west and west to east, so you could take the train across Canada if you wanted to.
All right, well, there's one thing we did talk about, and that was about insurance that you said is very important for travelers to take.
I highly recommend travel insurance. And I had the unfortunate experience of using it. I was on my way 2 years ago to China. I was driving to the airport, and I had stopped at Kaiser in Stockton because my knee was bothering me, and I was going to walk that Great Wall of China. So they gave me a shot to ease the pain, and my doctor says, well, while you're here, let's check you over. Next thing I knew, I was having an EKG. I did not feel or did not know that I had had a heart attack in the last 24 hours prior to my travel. Wow. I was not going to China. I was very disappointed. Fortunately, I had insurance, and it covered a full refund of my trip.
Now that is truly a very important aspect of travel today, because there are so many things that can happen.
Another issue is when you're traveling out of the country. Many people don't realize that Medicare does not cover your health coverage while you're out of the country.
And a lot of other health companies or organizations do not either.
Exactly. So that's a key thing when you are traveling, not only for cancellation, but for yourself as health. You need to have something. What happens if you're on a ship and God forbid that something happens to you, have to be airlifted?
Yeah, we talked about that because my sons were on a cruise with their dad in Alaska, and they were out in international waters, and a gentleman had a heart attack, and they had to airlift him. It was a $20,000 fee out of his pocket because he didn't have insurance to cover himself.
And the insurance will take care of that for you.
So very good point of information to know. So when you talk to Maureen to book your next trip, that's a very, very important.
I highly recommend insurance. Even young people, I have people who use the insurance because things happen. Uncontrollable. The insurances are not only just for you, so if you have somebody in your family that got sick, if unfortunately had a death in the family, or if you were called for jury or some kind of court issue, it covers that. So those are things that are out of your control. If you have to cancel because your dog got sick, I don't think they'll let that slide.
Really? Really? Darn. I don't think you'd
But the major
cancel.
things, the major things is coverage.
Okay.
So that's a real high priority, especially for seniors.
All right, so Maureen, if given 3 things, really quick off the top of your head, what would you tell people that are right now in that process? I want to travel, and they're putting it off. What would you tell them?
Goes back to my dad's recommendations. You know, you never know what the next day is going to bring. And so if you have those dreams to see different places, to see the world, do it now, because tomorrow may not come, or the next month may not come, or your health may stop you. So any of those travel dreams that you've been thinking about or talking about, do them. Do them now.
Well, on that note, I strongly recommend any of you who are considering traveling, give Maureen a call, and the number is?
It's 209-795-3226.
So 795-3226.
209-795-3226.
Correct, and that is with Above and Beyond Travel, and they can also find aboveandbeyondtravel.com, correct?
Above and Beyond Travel Agency.
Agency, okay, aboveandbeyondtravelagency.com. So,
one other thing I do want to touch bases is on people who have health issues going through security or TSA at the airports. You can get a notification card through the TSA site and put your information that you have some difficulty. It says, I have the following health condition, disability, or medical device that may affect my screening. Some people have prostheses in their knees, or may have a pacemaker, or some other metal in their body that...
So that actually is something that they can talk to you about further.
Yes.
Okay, I hate to interrupt, but we are having such a wonderful conversation, and there's so much to learn about. I do invite all of you to talk with Maureen and give her a call at 795-3226. And thank you again for joining us on the Sandwich Crunch, and we wish you a wonderful day.